Sometimes the most devastating theft is not of money or property, but of the dreams a person spent their entire life building. Her name was Maya Patel, 34 years old, software engineer. She came to this country from India when she was 22 with a student visa, a laptop that was 5 years old, and a dream bigger than most people dare to have. She wanted to build something that mattered, something that would help people. She worked her way through graduate school, washing dishes at night and coding during every free moment she had. After graduation, she got a job at a tech company in Silicon Valley called Innovate Tech. It was not Google or Apple, but it was a start. It was her chance. Maya was brilliant. Everyone who worked with her said so. She had that rare combination of technical skill and creative thinking. She could see solutions that other engineers missed. She could write code that was elegant and efficient, but more than that, she cared. She wanted her work to mean something beyond just making money for shareholders. For 3 years, Maya worked at Innovate Tech. She worked long hours, nights and weekends. She barely had a social life. She lived in a tiny studio apartment in San Jose that cost $1,800 a month. Most of her paycheck went to rent. She ate ramen noodles and rice most days. She saved every penny she could because she had a plan. She was building something on the side, her own project, her dream. Maya had an idea for a software platform that would help small businesses in developing countries access financial services. Microloans, payment processing, banking tools for people who had been left out of the traditional financial system. She had seen the need growing up in India. She had watched her own parents struggle to get a loan to start a small shop. She knew how hard it was for ordinary people to access the resources they needed to build better lives. She spent 2 years developing this platform. Every night after work, every weekend, she taught herself new programming languages. She researched financial regulations. She talked to potential users in India and Kenya and the Philippines. She built prototype after prototype. She poured her heart and her soul and every spare moment into this project. If you have ever had a dream that kept you awake at night, if you have ever worked on something that felt bigger than yourself, then please subscribe to this channel. We are a family here fighting for justice together. We share stories about people whose dreams were stolen and how they fought back. Join us now. Maya kept her project private. She did not tell her coworkers. She did not post about it on social media. She worked on it at home on her personal laptop using her own time and resources. She was careful about that. She knew that some companies claimed ownership of anything their employees created. She had read her employment contract carefully. Innovate Tech's intellectual property clause only covered work done using company resources or during company time. As long as Maya used her own equipment and her own time, her project belonged to her. But Maya made one mistake. One small mistake that would change everything. She trusted her boss. His name was Derek Hammond, 47 years old, CEO of Innovate Tech, Stanford MBA. He had that slick Silicon Valley persona, always talking about disruption and innovation and changing the world. He wore expensive jeans and t-shirts that cost $200. He drove a Tesla. He posted constantly on social media about his philosophy of leadership and his vision for the future. He gave TED Talks. He was interviewed in tech magazines. He presented himself as a mentor to young engineers, as someone who cared about empowering the next generation. One day, Derek asked Maya to stay after a team meeting. He said he had noticed her talent. He said he wanted to mentor her. He asked about her career goals. Maya was flattered. The CEO was taking interest in her. This felt like an opportunity, so she told him about her project. Not all the details, but enough. She told him about the financial platform for small businesses in developing countries. She showed him some screenshots, some of the features she had built. Derek seemed impressed. He asked good questions. He offered advice. He told Maya that if she ever wanted to develop the idea further, maybe Innovate Tech could help. Maybe they could partner. He said to keep him updated. Maya left that meeting feeling encouraged, feeling seen. She thought she had found an ally. Your support helps us share more stories like this, stories about people who were betrayed by those they trusted. Please subscribe. Every subscription tells us you care about protecting the vulnerable. 3 months later, Derek called an all-hands company meeting. He said he had a major announcement. He stood up on stage with a big smile. He said Innovate Tech was launching a revolutionary new product, a financial platform for small businesses in developing countries. He showed slides, demonstrations, features. Maya sat in that audience and felt her stomach drop. This was her project, her idea, her code, her design. Everything she had shown Derek, he had taken. After the meeting, Maya went to Derek's office. She was shaking. She said, "That platform you just announced, that is my project. I showed it to you. You took my idea." Derek looked at her with a cold smile. He said, "Maya, ideas are not proprietary. Execution is what matters. Besides, you developed this while employed at Innovate Tech. Anything you create belongs to the company." Maya said, "I developed it on my own time, on my own equipment. That contract clause does not apply." Derek shrugged. He said, "That is your interpretation. Our lawyers have a different interpretation. Everything you create happens because of the opportunity this company provided. We own it." Maya felt the walls closing in. She said, "I can prove I developed this before you assigned your team. I have timestamps, version histories." Derek leaned back in his chair. He said, "Maya, I would think very carefully about what you do next. You are on a work visa. Your visa is tied to your employment here. If you leave this company, you have 60 days to find a new sponsor, or you have to leave the country. And if you cause problems, I will make sure every tech company in the Valley knows you are difficult to work with. You will never get another job here. So my advice is to let this go." It was a threat, a clear, calculated threat. Derek was using Maya's immigration status as leverage. He knew she was vulnerable. He knew she could not easily leave. And he was counting on that fear to keep her silent. If you believe that people should not be punished for trusting others, if you think that vulnerability should not be exploited, then join our community. Subscribe now. We need people who still believe in protecting those who cannot protect themselves. Maya went home to her tiny studio apartment. She sat on her bed and cried. Years of work, years of dreams, stolen, and she felt powerless to stop it. But Maya was stronger than Derek realized. She spent the next week gathering evidence. She collected every file from her personal laptop, every version of her code, every design document, every email she had sent herself with ideas and updates. She had timestamps proving she had been working on this project for 2 years before Derek announced Innovate Tech's version. She printed everything. She organized it. Then Maya did something brave. She hired a lawyer. It cost her most of her savings. But she found an attorney named Lisa Chen who specialized in intellectual property cases. Lisa looked at Maya's evidence. She looked at the employment contract. She said, "You have a strong case. The contract is clear. Work done on personal time with personal resources belongs to you. We should sue." Maya was terrified. She said, "But my visa, my job, he will destroy me." Lisa said, "He is already destroying you. The question is whether you're going to let him get away with it, and whether you are going to let him do this to the next person." Maya thought about all the other young engineers at Innovate Tech, all the immigrants on work visas who were afraid to speak up, all the people Derek would exploit if no one stopped him. She said, "Okay, let us do it." They filed a lawsuit. Maya Patel versus Innovate Tech Corporation and Derek Hammond. Theft of intellectual property. Breach of contract. Fraud. The case landed on my docket 6 months later. By that time, Derek had fired Maya claiming performance issues. Maya's work visa was expiring. She was scrambling to find another sponsor. Her life was falling apart, but she did not drop the lawsuit. Help an old judge's mission to remind the world that the law should serve people, not destroy them. Subscribe to this channel. Your voice matters in this fight for justice. The trial lasted 5 days. Derek showed up with 6 lawyers. They wore matching suits. They carried identical briefcases. They were trying to overwhelm Maya with their resources, to make her feel small, to make her give up. Maya sat at the plaintiff's table with just Lisa beside her. Maya wore a simple blue dress. She looked exhausted. She had lost weight. She had dark circles under her eyes. But she was there. She was still fighting. Derek's lawyers argued that Maya had developed her project using knowledge gained at Innovate Tech. that the company had trained her, that she owed her skills to the opportunities they provided. They argued that everything is collaborative in tech, that ideas build on other ideas, that Maya was trying to claim ownership of something that belonged to the collective innovation of the company. It was sophisticated nonsense, designed to confuse the issue, to make theft sound like normal business practice. Lisa presented Maya's evidence methodically, the timestamps on her files showing she had been working on this project for 2 years, the version history showing the evolution of her code, the email she had sent herself documenting her progress, the employment contract clearly stating that work done on personal time with personal resources belonged to the employee. Then Lisa called Maya to testify. Maya walked to the witness stand nervously. Lisa asked her to explain her project. Maya's face lit up. She explained how she had seen her parents struggle to get a loan, how millions of small business owners in developing countries could not access basic financial services, how her platform could help them, how she had spent 2 years building it, how much it meant to her. We need voices like yours to stand against this kind of theft. Subscribe and show that we will not accept people who steal dreams from those who trusted them. Join us now. Lisa asked, "Why did you tell Derek Hammond about your project?" Maya's voice got quiet. She said, "Because I trusted him. He said he wanted to mentor me. He said he cared about helping young engineers. I believed him. I thought he would help me make the project better. I did not think he would steal it." Lisa asked, "How did you feel when he announced Innovate Tech's version?" Maya started crying. She said, "Like someone had reached inside me and taken a part of my soul. This was not just code to me. This was my dream, my way to help people like my parents, my contribution to the world. And he took it. He took it and he put his name on it, and he acted like I did not even exist." Derek's lawyers cross-examined Maya. They tried to make her seem naive. They asked why she did not get a patent, why she did not incorporate her own company, why she told Derek if she wanted to keep it private. They were trying to blame her for trusting her boss, for not being more suspicious, for not protecting herself better. I watched Derek while Maya testified. He sat at his table looking bored, checking his phone, whispering to his lawyers. He showed no remorse, no guilt, no recognition that he had done anything wrong. Then Derek took the stand. He was confident, polished. He talked about how Innovate Tech was building innovative solutions. When Lisa asked him directly if he had taken Maya's idea, he said, "Ideas are not unique. Multiple people can have similar ideas. Our platform was developed independently by our team." Lisa showed him the screenshots Maya had shared with him. She showed him his own notes from their meeting. She showed him the timeline proving that Innovate Tech started development just days after Maya showed him her work. She asked, "Is it a coincidence that your platform has the exact same features, the exact same design elements, the exact same target users as Maya's project?" Derek smiled, that same cold smile. He said, "Coincidence is not proof of theft. Great minds think alike. Thank you for being here, for listening to this story, for caring about people like Maya. Please subscribe and stay with us. We are building something important together." Lisa asked, "Did you offer Maya credit? Did you offer to partner with her? Did you offer her any compensation?" Derek said, "Why would I? She is an employee. Employees do not get special credit for doing their jobs." Lisa said, "But this was not her job. This was her personal project." Derek shrugged. He said, "She was employed by us. That means her output belongs to us. That is how employment works." I stopped him. I said, "Mr. Hammond, have you read your own company's employment contract?" He looked annoyed. He said, "My lawyers handle that." I said, "Let me read you the relevant section. Work done on personal time using personal resources belongs to the employee. That is in your contract. Your lawyers wrote it. Did you ignore your own policy?" Derek's lawyers objected. I overruled them. Derek said, "Your Honor, that clause is not enforceable in practice. Everyone in tech knows that." I leaned forward. I said, "Everyone in tech knows that? Or everyone in tech with power assumes they can ignore the rules? There is a difference." I called a recess. I went to my chambers. I read through all the evidence again. The The contract was clear. Maya's timestamps were clear. The fact that Derek assigned a team immediately after Maya showed him her project was clear. This was not a gray area. This was theft. Derek had stolen Maya's work. He had used his position to take advantage of a young immigrant employee who trusted him. And he had threatened her when she tried to stand up for herself. I thought about my own granddaughter. She is 28. She works in tech. She has told me stories about the industry, about how young employees, especially immigrants and women, are often taken advantage of, about how people with power can steal credit and face no consequences, about how the system protects those at the top. Be part of something meaningful. Subscribe to this channel and join thousands who believe that justice means protecting the vulnerable, not empowering the powerful. We need you with us. When I came back to the courtroom, I asked for closing arguments. Derek's lead lawyer was smooth. He talked about the complexity of innovation, about how ideas evolve, about how Innovate Tech was a leader in the industry. He asked me to dismiss the case. Lisa stood up. She was not as polished as Derek's lawyers, but she was passionate. She said, "Your Honor, this case is simple. Maya Patel spent 2 years building something. She used her own time, her own computer, her own skills. She showed it to her boss because she trusted him, and he took it. He did not ask permission. He did not offer credit. He just took it. And when she complained, he threatened her. He used her immigration status as a weapon. That is not innovation. That is theft. That is abuse of power. And if this court does not stop it, what message are we sending? We are telling every young engineer, every immigrant, every person without power that their dreams do not matter, that they exist to be exploited." The courtroom was silent. I looked at Maya. She was crying quietly. I looked at Derek. He was checking his phone again. That casual disregard, that assumption that he would win because he always won. I said, "I am ready to give my verdict." Everyone sat up. Derek finally put his phone down. I said, "I have reviewed all the evidence in this case, the timestamps, the version histories, the employment contract, the timeline, the testimony, and I find the facts to be clear and undisputed." I continued, "Maya Patel developed her financial platform over 2 years, using her personal laptop during her personal time. This work was done outside the scope of her employment. According to the employment contract that Innovate Tech itself drafted, such work belongs to the employee. Ms. Patel showed her work to Derek Hammond in confidence, believing he would mentor her. Instead, Mr. Hammond stole her work, assigned a team to replicate it, and claimed it as Innovate Tech's innovation." Derek's lawyers started objecting. I held up my hand. "I am not finished. Mr. Hammond then fired Ms. Patel in retaliation and threatened to destroy her career. He used her immigration status as leverage. This is not a gray area. This is theft. This is fraud. This is exploitation of a vulnerable employee. Together, we can inspire change, one story at a time. Subscribe and help us build a community that demands better from leaders. Your subscription creates real impact." I looked directly at Derek. "Mr. Hammond, you have built your career on the idea that you are an innovator, that you are changing the world, but this case shows the truth. You are not an innovator. You are a thief. You steal from those who trust you. You exploit those who are vulnerable." I said, "I am ruling in favor of the plaintiff. Maya Patel is the sole owner of the financial platform she developed. Innovate Tech and Derek Hammond are ordered to immediately cease all development, marketing, and sale of their version. All code must be destroyed." Derek's lawyers were on their feet, shouting objections. I ignored them. "Furthermore, I am awarding Ms. Patel $5 million in damages, $2 million for theft of intellectual property, $3 million in punitive damages for fraud, retaliation, and abuse of power. Mr. Hammond, you wanted to silence Ms. Patel by threatening her visa. Instead, I am giving her the resources to never be silenced again." Maya gasped. She covered her mouth with her hands. Lisa hugged her. Derek's face was red with anger. He stood up and said, "This is outrageous. We will appeal." I said, "You are welcome to appeal. But until that appeal is decided, my ruling stands. And I am also recommending that the State Labor Board investigate Innovate Tech's treatment of immigrant employees, because I suspect Ms. Patel is not the only person you have exploited." I said, there is one more thing. Miss Patel's work visa is expiring. I am writing a letter to immigration authorities explaining this case and recommending that Miss Patel be granted status based on extraordinary ability. She has demonstrated innovation that this country should want to keep. And I am recommending that Innovate Tech be investigated for using visa status as coercion. The courtroom erupted. Derek stormed out with his lawyers. Maya sat at her table sobbing. Not sad tears, relief, vindication, hope. If you think powerful people need to be reminded that they cannot steal from those who trust them, please subscribe. Help us spread this message. We need your voice. After the courtroom cleared, Maya came up to the bench. She said, "Judge, I do not know how to thank you. You gave me back my dream." I said, "You gave that to yourself by fighting back, by refusing to stay silent, by trusting that justice could still work." She said, "I was so scared. I almost gave up so many times." I said, but you did not, and now every other young engineer, every other immigrant who might have been Derek's next victim will know that someone fought back and won. You did that. Derek did appeal. He lost. The appeals court upheld my verdict. Innovate Tech had to pay Maya the full $5 million. Derek was forced to resign as CEO. Several other employees came forward with similar stories. The company is now under investigation. Maya used the money to start her own company. She launched her financial platform. It is now operating in 12 countries. It has helped over 50,000 small business owners access loans and banking services. Maya hired a diverse team. She pays fair wages. She has clear intellectual property policies that protect her employees. She is building the kind of company she wished Innovate Tech had been. Subscribe if you believe in the power of one person standing up against injustice. Your subscription supports stories that remind us all that courage matters. Join us. She also became an advocate. She speaks at universities and conferences. She tells her story. She encourages other young immigrants to stand up for themselves. She funds legal aid for employees who face similar exploitation. She is turning her pain into purpose. Derek tried to start another company. It failed. Investors did not trust him anymore. The tech community had seen who he really was. He still tries to rebuild his image on social media. But people remember what he did to Maya. The internet has a long memory for those who abuse power. I think about this case often. It reminds me that justice is not just about following rules. It is about protecting those who cannot protect themselves. It is about recognizing when power is being abused. It is about standing up for people whose dreams are being stolen. Maya had every reason to give up. She was in a foreign country. She was on a visa that could be revoked. She was facing a CEO with unlimited resources. She could have walked away, accepted that the world is unfair, gone back to India defeated, but she did not. She fought, and she won. Not because the system automatically protects the vulnerable, but because she refused to be silent, and because there were people who chose to see her as a person whose dreams mattered. That is what we all have to do. See each other, really see each other. Not as employees or immigrants or people we can use, but as human beings with dreams and dignity. When we forget that, when we start seeing people as resources to be exploited, we lose something essential. We lose our humanity. Subscribe to this channel and help us continue sharing stories like Maya's. Stories about courage and justice, and refusing to accept that power means you can steal from others. Your subscription helps us keep fighting. To anyone watching who has had their work stolen, their ideas taken, their dreams dismissed by someone with more power, I want you to know something. You are not powerless. You have rights. You have worth. There are people who will stand with you if you speak up. It is not easy. Maya will tell you it was the hardest thing she ever did, but it was worth it. Not just for her, for everyone else who might have been Derek's next victim. And to anyone with power who employs others, I am asking you what I wanted Derek to understand. The people who work for you are not resources. They are not tools. They have dreams just as real as yours. When someone trusts you enough to share their work, that is sacred. Do not betray it. Do not steal it. Do not use your position to take what belongs to them. Be the mentor you claim to be. Be the leader you pretend to be. Thank you for watching this story. Thank you for caring about Maya and about every person whose work has been stolen by someone they trusted. Subscribe to this channel and join our family. We are building a community that believes talent matters more than title, that trust should not be betrayed, that dreams belong to the people who build them. One story at a time, we are changing what people think is acceptable. We are reminding the powerful that they are not above the law. We are giving voice to those who thought no one would listen. Subscribe and be part of this movement. Maya fought for her dream. Now we fight for everyone like her. Together. Subscribe today.